Hey everyone, so you read the title. I am currently being threatened with a lawsuit over a negative review that I posted, and that review is the DCS Bartok. This review was published in December of 2021, a couple of years ago now, and late last year I received communication informing me that a representative of DCS was very unhappy with the review, alleging that it was full of falsehoods and that I had an agenda against DCS that had caused direct economic and reputation damage to DCS, and therefore they are demanding that I either remove the review or heavily amend it to make it accurate. Now, if you want the full story, please go and watch the video on the Headphone Show. In that, I talk through the entire timeline of what has happened and discuss all of the points that DCS alleges are false. I talk through my thoughts on them, and also for some of these points, I've actually spoken to some prominent industry figures, Amir from AudioScienceReview and Jussi Laako, who is the creator of Signalyst HQ Player, and I'm very grateful for both of their input. There is a link to that video in the video description and a link in the top corner of this video now. That video is over on the Headphone Show rather than here because this is a situation that I think sets a really dangerous precedent. One that means that if manufacturers continue to try to threaten reviewers over negative coverage of their products, like what we also saw with Aaron's Audio Corner and Tecton recently, we simply will not be able to have fair and honest reviews. Reviewers will be scared, rightly, that if they say something a manufacturer does not like, even if it is their own opinion, or even if it is factually correct, a manufacturer can just sue them and force them into a costly legal battle, which, regardless of whether they win or regardless of whether they are in the right, many simply will not be able to afford to defend. And so this I felt needed to be put to the widest audience possible. This is an important issue to talk about, and the Headphone Show has about 4 times the subscribers of this channel currently. So please do go over and watch that as the main video. That is where everything is actually being discussed. I'm really grateful to headphones.com for allowing me to talk about this there and for the overall level of support they've given me during this whole process. The DCS Bartok review was published on this channel before I even started working with headphones.com. It's nothing to do with them, but this is a problem that affects anyone who produces reviews and anyone who watches or reads reviews. The main issue here is that after being informed that DCS was unhappy and they alleged that I was being dishonest and my video was full of falsehoods, I contacted them and told them that my subjective impressions weren't positive, and obviously that's something we're going to disagree on. Misinformation and objectively false statements, however, are absolutely not something I want to be publishing, and if something I say is shown to be false, I would very much like to correct the record. And so I asked them, would you be able to let me know which statements or parts of media I have published are ones you feel are definitively incorrect? I would be happy to discuss these with you and remove them or correct the record if I have published something incorrect. Of course, I understand that a manufacturer is not likely to be particularly pleased about a negative review of their product being posted, but there is a big difference between disagreeing with and not liking someone's subjective opinion about a product versus alleging that it is so full of malicious mistruths and lies that are damaging and defamatory. Factual inaccuracies and mistruths are not something that I want to be publishing, which is why I asked DCS, please tell me what is wrong, and if it is wrong, I will fix it. This is not something that I want to be publishing. I then received a response which did not answer my question or provide any further information as to what in either my video or the written article was factually incorrect. Instead, providing several paragraphs reasserting that I was being dishonest, misrepresenting DCS, being overtly malicious, and finishing with, I have no insight into what motivates your irresponsible and overtly malicious behavior. I am neither your mummy nor your therapist, but you can bank on the fact that I will do all within my power to prevent people like you from lying about a company I love. As I'm sure you can understand, we can no longer stand by and allow you to deceive your audience at our expense. After some further communication, which is discussed in full in the main video, seriously, please do go watch that, I replied and finished with, as what I hope will be seen as a positive gesture, I have set the video to private so that it is not publicly visible. If you would let me know which specific parts of the video you feel are inaccurate, I will look and remove them. I made every effort to act in good faith and correct supposed factual inaccuracies. I even took the video down. But that's not something that I can do if you don't tell me what is actually factually inaccurate. Just telling me that the whole video or that I myself am dishonest whilst refusing to provide specifics doesn't help. That was in October of last year, and I never received a response to that email, so the video went back up a few weeks later after not hearing back. And recently, 7 months later, I received communication from a lawyer acting on behalf of DCS, demanding that my review be removed, else DCS will be forced to exercise its remedies to protect its interests, including the recovery of actual and special damages and punitive damages. And in this communication, they do finally tell me what specifically they have an issue with, but I feel that most of the points they have made are simply demonstrably wrong, and this is discussed in full in the video on the headphone show. This behavior is, in my opinion, unethical and damaging to the reviewing space and audio community as a whole. If you genuinely just want to resolve supposed factual inaccuracies, tell me what the factual inaccuracies are. Don't wait until years after a video is posted and 7 months after I ask you several times for information so that I can correct these supposed factual mistakes to then send a threat of a lawsuit. I've had a rough few weeks because of this. It's a pretty bad situation, and the easiest thing to do would have just been take down the video. Just comply with DCS's demands and don't worry anymore. But that, I think, would have been the wrong thing to do. It would have just encouraged this kind of behavior to perpetuate, and that's dangerous. So I'm hoping that by speaking out against this, we can show manufacturers that this is not okay. You cannot just bully reviewers into censoring negative coverage of your products because you don't like what they say. Please do go and watch the main video on the headphone show. Again, there is a link in the description. That's where everything is being discussed in depth, the whole timeline of what's happened, all the communications, and going through all of the individual points that DCS has made and discussing why they are or are not valid. This is just meant to try and tell you guys that this is happening and to encourage you to watch that video. Once again, I'm really thankful for headphones.com for allowing me to publish that on their platform. They didn't have to do that, but I think that this is something which should be talked about and that the community should be aware of. This is newsworthy, this is important, and this is dangerous if manufacturers keep trying this in future. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.